Impact.
New talents, experts, and professionals in different fields.
Different topics that contribute knowledge to society.
And what's going on here in the Sultan.
It's Impact, hosted by Tariq Al-Barwani.
Tuesdays and Sundays at 9 p.m.
It's all here every week on the Nation Station.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, and welcome to Impact. This is a weekly edutainment and knowledge sharing program at live specifically to share with you topics that contribute knowledge to the society. Every week, Impact hosts and invites guests that are experts, professionals, and leaders from the field that bring wealth of knowledge to you. Impact also highlights and promotes talents in the country that contribute knowledge and success to the nation. This program, ladies and gentlemen, is a weekly session that I will have with you every Tuesday. I'm your host, Tariq Al-Barwani, along with the studio engineer, DJ Muhammad, for an hour bringing you free knowledge at your doorsteps on Oman Radio FM 90.4. Okay, stay tuned after this music break for today's interesting personality and today's interesting topic. Welcome back to Impact, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Tariq Al-Barwani, along with the studio engineer, DJ Muhammad, with you here live today on Oman Radio FM 90.4. Now, what would it take to be a successful educator? Well, my guest here today on Oman Radio FM 90.4 Impact is Miss Balqis Al Hasani, the first Omani assistant principal in a Sahwa School, who will be sharing with us all that you need to know about being and what does it take to become a successful educator and teacher. The life, challenges, and winning tips for a successful journey. Balqis graduated from high school with a 95% overall grade in 2000 and has graduated from Sultan Qaboos University in 2005 with a Bachelor's of Science majoring in Chemistry, minor Geology, and later joined a Sahwa School starting as a lab tech for 2 years and then to a science teacher after 2 years, and as a pastoral coordinator after 2 years, and currently, mashallah, taking part in Al Sahwa School strategic management team. Balqis also received an Outstanding Teacher Award in 2013 for her excellence performance and educational contribution. Balqis has accepted our invitation today to speak and share about her successful journey to the educational arena and also share with us tips on what it takes to become a successful educator. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Balqis, how are you doing today?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm fine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. First and foremost, Balqis, thank you very, very much to accept to come here today and speak about teaching, education, and how can someone become a successful educator. It was very, very difficult to get hold of you and for us to be able to bring you here on air for you to share your wealth of knowledge. So thank you very much for coming in today.
The honor is mine.
MashaAllah, you have received an Outstanding Teacher Award in 2013 for your excellence performance and educational contribution. You have also have achieved 95% in your overall grade, that is in Thanawi Amma, is that right?
Right, great.
MashaAllah, well. And how does it feel and how did it feel?
Ooh, at that time it was like hallelujah. It was a really nice thing.
MashaAllah, I like that. Hallelujah indeed. Now, tell me one thing. Could you please tell us a brief about yourself?
All right, so let's start off by saying my name is Balqis and currently I'm working as a science teacher / Al Sahwa School assistant principal. Shall I start with my career ladder?
Yes, now we'll go one step back
Okay.
and tell us about what made you get into teaching and education?
All right. Tariq, you know, I so wanted to contribute to our beautiful country. And I thought the best way would be is to touch the future as being a teacher, because you'll be dealing with fresh mind, with fresh brain, and eventually you're going to sculpture those minds into a special individual, a unique individual with special character to help this country to develop further.
MashaAllah.
And that was my initial thinking why I wanted to be a teacher, is to touch Oman's future.
MashaAllah.
And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really had helped me big time to do this goal.
MashaAllah. Was it during the days you were in school that you said, you know what, tomorrow I would like to become a teacher? Or is it someone that has come influenced you as well?
Well, I'm pretty sure, Tariq, that anyone on this planet is influenced either by educator or by an adult.
صحيح.
And myself, I was influenced big time by my teacher.
MashaAllah.
She was my English teacher. Her name is Miss Batul Al Lawati, and up till now I remember her name.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
And she was like a great educator.
Okay.
Great educator. She really influenced me to be the best and to give the best. And from there, I thought, like, you know what? I'm gonna copy this lady.
MashaAllah. Miss Balqis Al Lawati. Where is she now?
Miss Batul Al
Miss
Lawati.
Batul, your name is in my head, you know. So it's Batul Al Lawati, and where is she now?
Where she is, she retired. I mean, we are in really nice relationship with nice communication and all.
Okay.
But she retired, and that's a really bad. Like, it's a pity because her contribution to education field is just like numerous.
Okay, and what school were you studying?
Dawhat Al-Adab.
MashaAllah, so you're studying for Dawhat Al-Adab school, and she was a teacher in Dawhat Al-Adab, and she inspired you.
Big time, yes. I would say, yeah. I mean, every single thing. I can remember her classes, her lesson vividly. She was an inspiration by all means.
Okay, MashaAllah, and she was teaching English.
She was teaching me as English subject.
No wonder your English is very good.
Oh, thank you, Miss Batul.
MashaAllah, I got that. That's good one. That's good one. Now, tell us about your work in Sahwa.
All right. Now, that's a journey that I feel so much proud about. When I graduated from Sultan Qaboos University, majoring in chemistry and minor in geology, you know, as a fresh graduate, you just want to hook yourself into a work. You don't want to stay at home doing nothing. So my sister, I remember my elder sister, she said, Balqis, there's a vacancy in Sahwa School as a lab tech.
Okay.
And then everybody was like, no, I have to look for another job because I'm a graduate, and at the same time I'm 95, you know, in Thanawiya, so lab tech. But then the only two person who believed in me was my elder sister and my mother. Both of them, they said that
lab tech it is, yeah?
yes. So all the time they start saying, like, no, you shouldn't be taking that position because you should wait for a better chance, for better job occupation. But then my mom and my sister, they believed in me and they knew that I won't be staying in that position for so long. And everyone at my family and my friends, they started saying, like, Balqis, you shouldn't be going there. You know, you are a talented, skilled person. You shouldn't be there. But then I told them, and who said that I'll be there for a long time?
Okay.
And I promised you won't see me there for so long. That time, I started to work as a lab tech, and I remember Miss Soraya. She is South African teacher, used to work in Al Sahwa School, teaching science. So I used to attend her lesson when I'm like busy preparing for practicals and stuff. And I love the way she teaches the children, those fresh mind. And I was so much impressed by the engagement happening in the classroom.
Okay.
And I so much love to be a student back once again. I started to attend her classes whenever I'm free and observe her and observe what is happening. And I was so much fascinated with her work. And then I was like, you know what? Why not being a teacher, Balqis?
MashaAllah.
And that time I started to work like, you know, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
So opportunity comes, and then I was promoted as a science teacher.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
And after few
Why
years,
science though?
Science, because basically I'm a science graduate, bachelor in science. So my field was science. And remember those days when we were having art and sciences?
It's still there now, right?
No.
Oh, it's changed?
Oh, man.
Man,
Where
I'm
are
rusted.
you?
I'm telling you, I'm still living in
You're
the stone age.
outrated. You're outrated. Those days we were having science and art, and I was in science. That's why I have that passion towards science, and I find myself as a science teacher because I so wanted to change the mentality of students looking at science as a difficult or boring or challenging subject. I so wanted to let them feel like, okay, it's challenging, but it's not boring.
Okay.
In order for us to make it as an interesting subject, we need to work together as a team.
Okay.
So if you have any teaching style that you wish me to introduce in the class, please let me know.
This is how you tell your students, you mean?
Yeah, even now. Like, just like today, we had this lesson with the grade 11 boys, and it was a new topic. I just said, like, guys, brainstorm about enzymes. And they were like, but miss, you're supposed to start. And I'm like, no. I'm not controlling the lesson. It's you who's controlling the lesson. So I just gave them the headlines, and then they started to look for it. And then they start, I was so much surprised by the amount of information they have, and the link. The most important things in science is to link the information with one another in order to get a bigger picture of information. Anyhow, so after that I was promoted as pastoral coordinator.
What is a pastoral coordinator?
All right, lovely question. Now, pastoral coordinator is someone who take care for the about the student well-being.
Okay.
It's like you having that kind of relation with your student where you speak to them one-to-one. If they have any problems, they come back to you seeking advices.
Okay.
Like they just wanted someone to
Is it
hear.
something to do with the student affairs and so that?
Exactly, that's the same thing. So I was there for a couple of years as along with my side occupation, job
As a science teacher?
Yeah, as a science teacher. And then after a few years, let's say about a couple of years, I was called into my director office.
Okay.
And that morning, I can't really forget that morning because he just asked me to come to his office. And I was like, what the hell? What did I do? Just like a student asking, like, what did I do? Do? And then when I came to his office, he's like, because of your commitment, because of your hard work, because of your passion toward the school and the school vision, you are promoted as a science, as an assistant principal.
MashaAllah.
I was like, I couldn't even say anything. That time, Tariq, you just wish to hug someone and cry. And I was really looking like, left and right for someone. And then I remember seeing Miss Kim. And then I was just like, can I hug you and cry? And then that moment I would never forget. That was really one of the moments whenever I remember, I get emotional.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
What an exciting beginning of a journey. We're going to take a quick break right now, Balqis, and revert back to this exciting discussion on how to become a successful educator.
Impact.
New talents, experts, and professionals in different fields.
Different topics that contribute knowledge to society.
And what's going on here in the Sultan.
It's Impact, hosted by Tariq Al-Warwani.
Tuesdays and Sundays at 9 p.m.
It's all here every week on the Nation Station.
We're not just the music, we are variety.
Philo, how does it feel to be a teacher?
Well, it's a really nice feeling, especially when you wake up in the morning. You know that there are brains waiting to be fed with information.
MashaAllah.
And you know that at the end of the day, at least like 90% of them, they went home with an information in their mind and they're thinking what is happening in the classroom. So that's like the biggest thing as a teacher. That really makes me motivated to go everyday school with a smile.
So you say this was an aim and a goal for you to become an educator, is it?
Yes, educator, not a teacher.
Yeah, that was always an aim, that one day I will become that. So what, during your school days, it's not something that people should think after they graduate from school?
No, not really. Because as I told you, I got that lovely English teacher that she really inspires me.
Batul?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And I send my regards to her and says hi to her if she's listening. And then from there it started like, you know what, let me really build myself nicely into this career.
Okay, what do you like in being in Sahwa?
All right. Now, I feel like really Sahwa helped me to be what I am today.
Okay.
It had given me opportunities. It had given me chance. And before all of this, Sahwa really believed in our abilities as Omanis. And that's what really makes me feel like, you know what, no matter what happens, I don't think I will leave Sahwa. I remember the HR asking me like, Balqis, are you really thinking to stay in Sahwa for the coming 3 years? I'm like, you know what, you're going to bury me here.
Okay.
So yeah, and for me, I really like Sahwa because Sahwa does give opportunities, especially to Omanis. Like at the moment, we are having this internship for SQ graduate, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Al Sahwa School is one of the leading school to get this invite from SQ requesting to get those students as a trainee in our school, and those are like a really bunch of lovely ladies. I so much having a big respect to those ladies. 5 ladies in our school at the moment. Okay. For the whole semester.
MashaAllah.
So they're coming from SQ as a fresh graduate to get training in our school.
Okay.
And that's something I feel it like a really big thing for Al Sahwa because it shows that we in Al Sahwa, we also not only it's all about teaching the children and getting the leaders of Oman's future, but it's also helping other teachers to get the best skill needed to do that for the future leader.
MashaAllah. Tell us about your teaching philosophy, Balqis.
All right. Well, teaching philosophy, I can tell you, it could be like 2-3 pages, but let me just make it in a short note. Simply, only for you to learn, simply you need to do. So to learn is to do. And the real learning comes through one's own effort. So a teacher isn't a person with a magic stick that goes like, poop, and you got an A star. Okay. You should have your own effort into the whole process of learning, because a teacher is only there to guide you, but not to do the work or to give you the straight A's.
So you are as a student, you need to work hard and don't expect the poop kind of thing will gonna make you get good results. Huh?
Exactly. And another thing that I want to say that my philosophy is very simple. It is based on the fact that learning is not a passive process. It requires motivation, it requires effort, persistence. And I really like this quote by John Dewey. He says that education is not the preparation of life. Instead, education is life.
MashaAllah.
So I really love that quote. It really motivates me. It makes education, it makes us realize that we are having a lot of potential that are the catalyst of personal development of Oman. And education is dynamic. It's not more into quizzes, assessment, although I know that if my students are listening now, they go like, yeah. But that's part of the thing. But it's really not about quizzes or assessment. It's about the knowledge that you're having and the knowledge that you can share. It's an active participation.
Okay. Talking about that, is our system more about if you memorize the book, is that where you get high grades, or is it really understanding?
To be honest with you, Tariq, and no sugarcoating thing, before it used to be that. because
If you memorize, then you're top of the game.
exactly that was the whole story about it, except for math, I suppose, because
Okay.
math
you
need
can't
to
memorize.
yeah, it's a practice kind of thing. But true, in our days, I don't know your days, but in my days, I remember it was like to memorize the book from the cover to the cover, and then if you do that, you are guaranteed to get your 110%, not only 100%.
If you memorize.
If you memorize without understanding, that was the old age kind of
Yeah.
education that we have. And the bad thing of old days education, I would say that it was teacher centered learning. When I
Okay.
say teacher centered learning, it means that the teacher was there only to deliver, and we as students to accept it.
That's it.
Yes.
Whether it's right or wrong, we just have to accept it.
Yes, we can't say the teacher is wrong.
And we have
Excuse
to
me?
memorize and...
Exactly, yeah.
Okay,
we can't
okay.
do that. I mean, if you say
And when
that-
this has changed?
Well, now I can see when the technology had arrived, and I can see now things are getting more into bright side of education. The teacher, the fresh blood of teacher is there. It's no longer that bad, or let's say no longer that old mentality of teaching and giving out education. It's more into now student-centered learning, which means that the student is the one who's leading the learning process. The teacher is there only to give the guidelines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
The problem that we had, Tariq, and I think you agree with me, was that too much talk from the teachers. Research says, believe it or not, and it is really shocking one, 70 to 80% of the class time is only teacher talking.
Ooh.
Teacher talking from 70 to 80%, which means only 20% is given to the student, either to ask
Okay.
or just to keep quiet.
And that's not the right way of teaching.
Never. Because by that, you are sending message to the student that as a teacher, I'm the controller of your learning.
Okay. And this has changed now.
That's big time.
To all, both private and government schools?
Well, government school, we're really working hard on that. But I can guarantee that things are much improved in the private sector. Private schools.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Tell me one thing. I've noticed you used the different word for teachers. That is an educator. What is the difference between a teacher and an educator?
Right. Like, for example, Tariq, yourself, you are a great educator. And
Am
I
I?
look up to you as a really nice role model as an educator. Yeah, you are.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And
inshallah.
you are a good influence, mashallah.
Yeah, okay, but what you mean by an educator and a teacher? The difference.
Okay. Now, when it comes to a teacher, it's simply, at least from my point of view, and I don't like to be called as a teacher, I like to be called as an educator, because teacher is nothing but a job title, and this person has to finish a syllabus according to the ministry regulation
Guidelines and
or
so on.
guidelines. Yes.
So they're confined.
Exactly. But when it comes to educator is a person, first of all.
Okay.
Is a person who values communication, who values relationship, who inspires students to do their level best, who gives the right environment for learning. So that's why all the time I said, we all are educator, we are no longer teacher.
Okay. Teacher is something in the past, is it?
Yes, big time. Yeah.
Interesting discussions we have today with Balqis Al Hasani. Balqis Al Hasani is one of the first Omanis to join Sahwa. And
Not to join Al Sahwa, because there were many Omanis joined Al Sahwa before me.
okay, you were the first first Omani assistant principal in Sahwa School.
Yes, sir.
And mashallah, also you have achieved a 95% overall grade in 2000 when you've graduated from school, and have received an outstanding teacher award in 2013.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick break and revert back to this interesting discussion.
Impact.
New talents, experts, and professionals in different fields.
Different topics that contribute knowledge to society.
And what's going on here in the Sultan.
It's Impact, hosted by Tariq Al-Warwani.
Tuesdays and Sundays at 9 p.m.
It's all here every week on the Nation Station.
What would it take to be a successful educator? That is the interview we have today with Miss Balqis Al Hasani, the first Omani assistant principal in a Sahwa school. Tell me one thing, Balqis. What are the principles of teaching as an educator? What are the principles?
That's a really good question. First of all, let me start with this thing, Tariq. To any company or to any organization, you need to have the following. You need to believe in your staff, you need to believe in your potentials that you're having, and you need to let them know that you believe in their potential.
Okay.
So it's not only you keep the belief for yourself. They should sense it also, so they can give you a better outcome, better results. Second thing, the leadership lies in guiding others to success, to ensure that everyone is perform at their level best and do the work they are supposed to do, and do it in a really well directed way, yani.
Okay.
And of course, you need to set measurable and achievable goals and encourage them always to do better. The last thing, keep the vision there all the time. Repeat it all the time in front of them. And that's exactly what you need to do as an educator. You need to believe in your students' ability, no matter from which background they come from, no matter from whatever ability level they have. And all the time you need to sit with them and start to set some targets or goal which are ambitious but measurable. Don't set a target with a lower achiever that he needs to get an A. Start with them gradually till they meet and succeed. And at the same time, you need to keep a vision for them. Let them create their own vision. You be there just to help them and guide them to create that vision. But then keep on repeating that. Whenever they're down, you repeat them about, remember what was your vision? So that will motivate them to better themselves.
Okay, mashallah. Tell me one thing. If you were to look at the traits of people, what would a trait you say, this kind of trait or characteristic of a person, he or she can make a good teacher or a bad teacher?
Okay. Well, from my humble opinion, he or she needs to get the ability to inspire the confidence in the student.
Okay.
So they feel comfortable expressing themselves regardless of their level of ability. And a great teacher is the reason behind student being grateful to be in a class. It's the reason why they feel as if they are part of a family, where relationships are based on respect for one another and where everybody's ideas are listened and discussed equally. Last but not the least, from my humble opinion, a great teacher provides an environment that is challenging yet supportive.
Okay. What would be then a bad teacher?
All of the opposite.
A good one.
From my... when I go back when I was a student, and if I just remember a bad teacher, I would say the teacher that just keeps on talking without giving you the opportunity to express yourself. Can I just give you an example for a bad teacher that literally I faced when I was grade 10, and I can remember this teacher.
Wow.
I'm not going to mention names or whatever, but I can't forget this. I'm a lot into math. I love math, and I loved solving all the problems. My mom also, she bought me like a small book where I can do extra work for math. And she says that, Balqis, whenever you finish, go and ask your teacher, is your work correct or no? Then I used to go to my teacher like, teacher, I did extra question, can you please check? And then she goes and shouts at me like, what? Don't I have any other work than you? And then from that time, I got back home and I was crying, and I told my mom, Mama, I'm not going to do any extra math question because of my teacher. And then my mom, she's that kind of personality who would never say wrong to a teacher. She would all the time support the teacher. So she said, yeah, maybe Balqis, you went to bugging her a lot, that's why she shouted at you. But you're not going to stop doing all those math extra questions. So for me, I started doing that, but from deep inside, I felt like kind of demotivated to do those questions, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't even get like a well done kind of thing or excellent, good job. But then, yes, I overcome that, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Tell me one thing. What are the challenges? You are an educator. And you have been already an experience working with your students and also seeing other teachers who are teaching as well. What would you tell me the challenges of being an educator or a teacher?
You're touching on the wound now. The challenges. Well, the first one ranking challenge is the time management. because you need to do a lot of preparation when it comes to teaching. It's not only to have your lesson plans ready, but it's along with activities, the starter activity, the ending of the lesson activity. Then you have to do some project research kind of thing. So yes, it's the time-consuming thing that I think I'm not that good. But I'm willing my level best to improve that. And this year I used something called the Google Calendar.
Okay.
It does give you like friendly reminder.
Okay.
So like, okay, now this time I have to do this planning, or this time I have to do that planning, or I have to prepare that quiz for this day and stuff. So I'm starting to use technology somehow to help me organize my life.
That as a teacher?
As a teacher.
Okay. But with your students, or only use technology for yourself to make you a better educator or a teacher?
Well, Tariq, I do use technology to help me first as a person to improve my quality of teaching.
Okay.
And at the same time, in our school, we are having something called the Google Drive, which include the Google Classroom. And Google Classroom, whatever PowerPoint I'm presenting, whatever worksheet I'm doing, it's all uploaded there. The student, they got the ability to go back, even if they miss it, even if they were absent, because they got the account, they can, wherever they are, they can look at the content that what we did on that day. So they would never be cast, even if they are absent. And maybe my students sometimes they don't like it because it will also tell them what kind of homework they need to do.
Okay.
So that's something they go like, but I was absent. But then I go like, but excuse me, you got it there in your Google Classroom. So there's no excuse for that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's one of the good things that I really like in our school. We're having this Google Classroom, and all the students, they have to have an account in order to get into that technology.
So it's good. You're also motivating and encouraging students to use technology. That's very good.
And yes, of course, we have to do that, Tariq, because those kids, they are more into, what do you call it? Because you're an IT guy, you know the word better than I do. It's called the technophile. Yeah, that's those are the kids. These days you can't take their
savvy.
Yeah, you can't take their gadget away from them. You can't take their iPhone away from them. They are so much into it. They can even stay without food, but you can't take the phone away from them.
But isn't this impacting the students in a negative way?
That's where the educator comes. The educator needs to show them that this thing could be utilized as a really effective tool in your learning. So you can go through it to find when you have your quizzes, when you have your tests, when you have your assignments due. So you can utilize it. You can tell them that it's not only for a play kind of thing or just a social media kind of thing. It's also something you can utilize it to kind of manage your education.
Okay. These days, schools some schools are introducing tablets and so on, so that people can buy tablets. Students can come up with their tablets and use it to take lessons or read books or so on. Is that what you do at Sahwa?
We started off with that project, which was iPad, but then we just discovered that iPad, again, isolates the students somehow. So the school now moved to another move, which is introducing the Chromebooks.
Oh, Chromebooks, okay.
Yeah, so we're now having Chromebooks in our school. So what is happening with Chromebooks now, that the Chromebook will be with the student. The teacher will be just in front of them just to give them the guideline. But all the work is done as a group. So it won't be like only one person, one individual. There will be share of idea, share of knowledge
among the students
themselves. And that's a really big jump for us in Al Sahwa School.
Masha, is it Sahwa the only school that is doing this?
I can't really say if there's another school, but I haven't heard, to be honest.
Okay, but is this something that is done by for example, the educational bodies here in Oman, and that all the other schools have to follow, or each school individually they do things by themselves?
No, we do it by the strategic planning team. So it's by the strategic planning team of Al Sahwa. We see where the school is heading and what is best for our student.
Okay.
So we have meetings and prolonged meetings just to come up with those ideas and outcomes.
Is books still relevant today, or they're not relevant? So students come with carry big bags, they have a lot of books, heavy books, like what we used to have. Is that still relevant today, Balqis?
Well, it is to some extent.
Why would they do that if you've got tablets which can turn books into electronic books?
We are in that phase of turning those books into electronic books.
Okay.
So not all of them had been turned into electronic books yet.
Okay.
So we have to wait for some time. But as an alternative, we are giving our students some lockers where they can keep their books, so just to avoid the heaviness of their bags.
But what about taking the books at home and studying them?
Well, again, as I told you, we are in the phase of changing our books into electronic books.
Okay, so you see the future, Balqis, going digital,
Big time.
where everything will be done electronically?
Yeah. Yes, big time. And I really don't want to talk about this thing, but I'm now working with my professor back at the SQU regarding getting the... it's a small project still, we're working on it. It's to do something where you can do your lab work electronically.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So we're just working on that, but still we haven't finished it. But we're still on the research stages.
Okay, let us talk about classrooms today. Do classrooms today use smart boards, or are we still using chalk and the blackboard?
Tariq, you're so outdated. I should say that, huh?
I've graduated school for many, many years now. As you can see, I'm becoming old too.
I'm just kidding. Well, now, of course, we don't have any chalks and board.
But whiteboard.
Yeah, that's what we have. We have
So you
whiteboard.
still have a whiteboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so you moved away and you're using a whiteboard.
Yeah.
And is all the schools using whiteboard? Even the government schools?
That's pretty sure, yes. They're using the whiteboards and board markers.
Board markers. But the
yeah.
technology today, I mean, we're talking about the advancement. Some schools use, I'm not talking about Oman, but internationally, using smart boards.
Well, in Al Sahwa, we did also use smart boards for some time, but then we did not find them as effective as other tools. Smart boards, again, it keeps the teaching as a teacher-centered learning, not as a student-centered learning.
Okay.
So smart board wasn't really helping the whole vision of Al Sahwa School. So they're no longer in our school.
They're no longer in your school?
No.
Okay. What other things have changed in the classroom today compared to how it used to be many years ago, or during the days I was there, the Stone Age, I call it?
Okay. Well, nothing really as a big change. I mean, still we're using the desk and tables and all, but I think the technology is more introduced now in these days classrooms. Like you will have the overhead projector, you'll have the speaker, you will have a computer kind of thing. Those days, when I was a student, I used to have only a computer. And that computer where everybody has to go and even if you touch it, like you're a blessed person, because that was the only computer found there. But nowadays you will find laptops all over the classrooms.
Wow.
You will find screens and projectors and all of that. So yes, there's kind of big changes.
Okay, tell me one thing. What kind of a students does a teacher like or prefer?
All right, that's a really good question. Now, for me, I would like a student who first respect the environment around him or her, who appreciate the equipment the school provides, so they don't vandalize anything just for the sake of vandalizing. And at the same time, it's the student who work his level best and never gives up.
Okay.
Even if he was knocked or she was knocked down numerous times, but they believe in themselves and they know that us as educator, we do believe in their abilities.
Okay.
So that is my best student who never ever give up on their abilities, and they should know that they are titled as lifelong learner. They are not only any learner, they are lifelong learner.
Okay. Now, how does a teacher handle troubled students? During our days, I used to be very troubled. I can tell you that, Balqis. All problems and all that. Alhamdulillah, I've changed now. So we used to do all these, we used to be some stubborn sometimes. We're asked to do this. We're asked to go right. I go left. They asked us to do assignments today. We forget our notebooks and all that. Yeah. So the teacher would come and get angry and ask us to put our hands up and you use the sticks. You remember those days and hit the sticks and hit here, hit there, and ouch and all that. How is it done now?
Okay.
Is it any different, or is it the same thing? A student doesn't do well, tell them to stand until the class finishes and all that. Is it still the same thing?
No, not really. Okay. It has changed big time. It has changed big time now, Tariq, I will tell you. First of all, as a Ministry of Education regulation, you're not allowed to hit a student.
Okay, mashallah,
what?
good.
Yeah, and that's really I like, صراحة. I really like it.
It wasn't there during my days.
It wasn't there during my days as well.
Okay.
And the other thing also, you're not allowed to raise your voice tone
To the students.
to the student, even if they did something that is inappropriate.
Okay.
Because by that, you are actually advertising bullying in a way, in an indirect way. Because in a school, we are having this program of anti-bullying, whatever it was, cyberbullying or verbal bullying. So when a teacher raises their voices, actually they are just sending a message to student like, see, I'm doing a bullying here, and I'm your educator.
Very good too.
So that's a really bad thing. So in our school, we are really not allowed to do that hitting, nor to raise our voices up.
So then how do you punish a student?
Well, there's nothing called punishment, Tariq, but there's something called communication.
Okay.
First of all, Tariq, you should know that students are human at the end of the day.
Sahih.
And the maturity levels differ from one to another. And you need to know that you are the person who is in control.
Yeah.
So when you talk to a student, get to their level. You never know what was going there at home, that they didn't do their homework. And I'm not saying that, I'm not giving anyone any suggestion that they need to be lenient to the maximum.
Yeah.
No, the discipline should be there, but we shouldn't really take punishment as one way to discipline our kids. You can give them verbal warning. You can talk to them nicely, like, I really do have faith in you that you can do better than this. And let them, Tariq, the good educator, Tariq, is the one who makes the student come to you and says, you know what, miss, I'm really sorry. It's my fault. Once you get to that stage, you should feel so proud of yourself.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
Where were you, Balqis, during my days at schools, man? It would have been so nice to have a teacher like yourself,
Thank you.
I mean, I would have come every day to the class and I'll write all my homeworks, I will do all my homeworks and I will attend every day the class and, it would be nice.
And
today I would have been something, then nothing.
Excuse me,
like that.
Tariq.
So tell me one thing. What does it take for a student to get an A?
All right, of
Today,
course.
because previously you said they have to memorize and they can become 110%. That's what you said.
Yep.
Today it's not about memorizing.
Nope.
So what do they need to do?
Understand. And if there's anything unclear, please raise your hand up, ask for clarity, ask for assistance.
Okay.
Don't leave things to the last minute, because by then you'll have many things online in queue. So every day, whenever there is any ambiguous concern, try to kill it before you move to the next day. That's my biggest advice to my student. Do not leave the school until you make sure that things are clear. Nowadays, we're having, as I told you, this Google Classroom. So if the students still there are at home, they can still ask you a question and you reply to them.
MashaAllah.
It just gets to your phone as a friendly beep, beep.
Notification.
Yes,
something
notification.
alert.
Yes. And then you reply to them. I mean, that's a really nice, better than WhatsApp.
Better than WhatsApp, huh?
Better than
And so you are, as a teacher and educator, connected with the students even outside the school?
Yes, we are. I remember going to Dubai because of a workshop, and then all my lessons were sent to my student by Google Classroom.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, Ms. Balqis is not here, so you're having free lesson. It's never like that. They will find the PowerPoint, along with the PowerPoint, all the requirement worksheet or whatever assessment or research thing they need to do. So the communication is always there.
Okay, so students are automatically become computer savvies, really, because they get to work with the PowerPoint and everything. So before even they get into the workforce, at least they have the basics of using computers. Is that right?
Yeah, but the good thing, Tariq, about this Google thingy here, I don't know if you know about Google Slides. In our days, Tariq, when we used to do any project, if it was a group project, then I end up doing this number of slide and my friend will do that number of slide, and then we have to meet up to get all the slide in one PowerPoint. Now with the Google Slide, everyone, they can do their work at home and they can edit the same PowerPoint. No need for them to say like, you know what, take my flash, get this thing into your PowerPoint. That's no longer exist. At home, I'm doing my work and I can see my friend also editing on the other slide.
Wow.
So that's a really nice thing.
That's really good, huh?
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Now, does an A student guarantee a successful life?
I can't say that because it's not really the grades that matter. It's the skills that they should have.
Okay.
If they have those skills, then yes, I would guarantee to have whatever they want.
Okay.
But it's not only the grade. If the grade is not linked with a skill, then there's really no big value for that grade.
Okay. Tell me one thing, Balqis. Who is your role model?
Okay. As an educator, I'm having you, Tariq, as a role model.
MashaAllah.
And-
حلوة هذه مرة. It's good one. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Although I'm not an educator, but anyway, I'll just wear the hat if that's the case. Okay.
And of course, it's Miss Suraya, because from her I learned a lot of things.
MashaAllah.
And I would never forget my mom, because my mom, she was the big force behind who I am today,
Okay.
because she believes in me. And I would say also Dr. Peter Coles, the director of Al Sahwa School, who believes in us as
Good.
as Omani individual who
MashaAllah.
got potential to give. And I would tell you, Tariq, he invests in us big time. He would send us to workshop. He will offer us workshop. It's not like we have to go and do the research. Sometimes he
Okay.
will just say, like, you know what? I think this is suitable for you. Go for it.
Okay.
So I really admire Dr. Peter Coles. He's
Please
a really
pass on my regards and please and thanks and appreciation.
Dr. Peter, are you listening?
Now tell me one thing. How do you keep yourself motivated, Balqis?
Well, alhamdulillah, Tariq, because I know that whatever I'm doing is something great, because it touches people's life, and I have to do my level best to make sure that their lives will be in a better track, in a positive track. And that keeps me so much motivated, because I know that I'm contributing in one way or another in making their life a better place.
Do you have any advice for teachers and teachers wannabe and the future teachers that would like to get into and educators who would like to get into this field?
Well, teachers, you're doing a great job. You're helping Oman to be a better place. You're helping those new brains to fit into different occupations. Have patience. They're good people. Sometimes they're stubborn, but we are there to help them. And the other question was it?
Anything you wish to share to our audience to be defender of our program?
I just want to say that thank you for having me here and to share my little humble experience about teaching and education. And I hope it was useful. And yes, that's pretty much.
Balqis, thank you very, very much for joining us today on Oman Radio FM 90.4 to share about your successful journey into the world of teaching and educator. I would like to take this opportunity to wish you the very best and success in all that you do, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our program for this week. I hope you all had an intriguing time with us. Let us catch up again next week on Tuesday for an impact session. I'm Tariq Al-Barwani along with our studio engineer DJ Muhammad, wishing you all a happy and a pleasant week. Ma'a salama.